Hey everyone, it's Jason. Today I'm going to be doing unboxing for Legendary Heroes of Asgard. As you can see, we got all our big mainstays. We have Thor, of course. We have Valkyrie up here with her Brightwing. We have Lady Sif. We have the Warriors 3, Fandral, Hogan, and Volstagg. Boy, I almost forgot his name for a second. That would have been terribly embarrassing. Alright, so let's crack her open. Like all expansions, you have to have the core set to play. But once you have the core set, you can crack this open. You can play a game by yourself if you really want. You can play a one-player game, but you can play up to 4 players. Alright, so let's look at some of the stuff on the rules here. So, we have a new team, the Heroes of Asgard. So they're not called Asgardians or Team Thor. It's the Heroes of Asgard, but they're represented by the hammer. Alright, so we're going to look at some of the keywords. We have worthy. So the new keyword worthy says you are worthy if you have a hero that costs 5 or more. So as long as you can play a hero that costs at least 5 or more, you are considered worthy for that turn. And then you gain bonus effects. So as usual, the phrasing your heroes and heroes you have include both cards in your hand and cards you've already played this turn. They also include hero artifacts you control. We'll get to that in a moment. Heroes in your deck and discard don't count. So yeah, if you have a hero, it says are you worthy, you could just show a hero you have in your hand that has 5. Or if you've already played one that has 5, it doesn't have to do that. It's not like a combo ability where you have to play one before it. Just it checks at some point, like, oh, do you have one of these? Okay, cool. Some villains in this team also check if you are worthy with it and reward or punish you accordingly. So in that case, like if it's a villain, might do something, may not be on your turn, so that's only going to check what's in your hand or one of your artifacts. Alright. So let's go through. So artifacts, they were first in the Guardians of the Galaxy set, and then they were in the Fear Itself villain set, and now they make a return. Basically, the way artifacts work, they play like any other card, but when you play them, they stay on the table. They don't go to your discard pile at the end of your turn. They stay out, and they can potentially either grant you a ongoing effect or a effect to use during your turn, like game 1 attack or anything. You can use them for the reveals. You can also use them for the combos on the turn they're played, but not after that. So then throwing artifacts, which was added in the Fear Itself, but now in the Asgardian says, to throw an artifact, you put it on the bottom of your deck and use it to list an ability. So first, beginning of your turn, or any of your turns, you play your artifact, it stays out. Then, during that turn or a later turn, if you want to use the throwing artifact effect, you just put it back on the bottom of your deck. So you're not discarding it, so you're going to get it again quicker, especially if you have few cards in your deck. It might be a good time to throw it, or you might even, if you have no cards in your deck, throw that if you have a card that lets you draw it, because then you get it right back right away. Which is much like Thor's Hammer, a throwing artifact can return to your hand quickly. Throw as many artifacts as you want, including ones with the same name, but you can only throw artifacts during your turn unless specified otherwise. Another new effect in this set is the Villainous Weapons. So what these are is villains and masterminds. This is a new type of twisting artifacts from the past sets and this one. New card type, Villainous Weapons. Villains and masterminds can capture these ancient weapons to become more powerful, but to defeat them, you can seize those weapons to use as your own. So each villain group includes cards that say Villainous Weapons. They are not considered villains. When a Villainous Weapon is played from the deck, the weapon is captured by the villain of the city that is closest to the villain deck. So basically like a bystander, essentially. If there are no villains in the city for whatever reason, the card is KO'd, so it doesn't even hurt you. It doesn't just sit there and wait for someone to pick it up, basically, is what it's saying. Problem is, a villain can capture more than one weapon. When a villain with any number of weapons escapes, Mastermind captures all those weapons, gaining their bonus. And we'll look at that more when we get into them. When you fight a villain or a Mastermind, holding these, you put all weapons into your discard pile as artifacts. You never get its printed bonus, you just get its artifact effect. Okay, and then both of the Masterminds have tactics to get there. We'll get to that as well. So another returning ability is Conqueror. This actually came out in the Marvel Legendary Studio Phase 1, the one based off the live action, has a live action artwork, so a lot of people didn't buy it because for the most part it was just a rehash of the original base, and all of the heroes in it just had photo pictures, but they had the same abilities, the same exact cards as the original base set. But they did add a couple new villain groups, changed up a couple of them. They had the same effects, but they had different artwork and different names. Like they changed Ymir to Laufey, like for the one set. Had the same abilities, just a different name. But they added the Conqueror ability in there. So it has stuff like Bridge, Conqueror, and then a number. This gets +3 while any villain is on the bridge. It does not care if it's itself or it's another villain or how they got there. Same thing like Roof Conqueror 1 means you get +1 attack if any villain is on the roof. So if a hero has it, you gain the bonus if there's a villain there. So it's like, hey, I fight really well on the rooftops, or I fight really well in the sewers. So they get better if a villain's there. Villains get better if they're taking over that area. Alright, so that's enough going through that. Let's dive into this. So now we have another Thor for our Thor Rampage. Yes, I am someone that would. That's why I want more Thor, so I have more Thor Rampages. I don't believe he has Rampage in this set, though. So we have a ranged attack, Test of Virtue. He has 2 recruits, but if you're worthy, he gets 2 attack. So that definitely can be helpful, just right off showing that you don't want that worthy ability. But to get that, you need to play someone with 5. So this Thor is worth 5. So he would make you worthy. You get +3, or you get 3 attack, +1 for each other card you play that turn that makes you worthy. So if you played multiple 5 cards, you get bigger bonuses. It's his Divine Lightning. Got a couple of those. And then we have his artifact, Mjolnir. You cannot throw Mjolnir unless you are worthy. So this is kind of a unique play on that because you get it, but you have to be worthy to be able to use it. You can play him, definitely. So you buy this card for 4, you play it, you just can't use its ability unless you're worthy that turn. But when you throw it, put it on the bottom of your deck, and you get +3 attack and +1 for each other ranged hero you played this turn. Which both of Thor's other cards are. So it synergizes well with the other Thor cards, which it should. And then we have Royal Decree. So Royal Decree is an 8 cost, gets you 5 attack. If you play another Asgardian character, I know they're heroes of Asgard, I'm just going to call them Asgardians. Each player who is worthy draws a card. Each villain that isn't worthy at least 5 VP gets -1 this turn. So your weaker villains get -1, so some of them you can actually beat pretty easy. So that's pretty cool. He makes everyone more powerful, because you get draw cards, and all the other guys are weaker, but only the worthy, or unworthy as it would be. Our second character is actually not technically an Asgardian. He's Beta Ray Bill, who is the hope of the Corbinites, which is his race of horse-like creatures. 1 cost, not many 1 cost cards in the entire game, like overall, so that's really cool. And it's a strength card. To play this, you must discard a card, then if you're worthy, you draw a card. So it's kind of a big negative, could be potentially negative, but I'm sure it's going to tie into his other abilities. Let's find out. Bioengineered Cyborg Tech card. You may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. So he's really all about the discards right now. His first one lets you discard. If you're worthy, you draw a card. Here you can just discard and then you draw a card. Plus it makes him worthy. You can play this in combination to get a bunch of extra cards while being worthy. Here is his artifact. It is Stormbreaker. Same thing as Millionaire. You have to be worthy to throw it. But you throw this, you must discard a card from your hand. He loves to discard. You get +2 for each card you discarded from your hand this turn. So again, you combine this with the other one, then throw it. You're going to get a lot of extra attack. Let me guess. Discard a card, of course. Warship Scuttlebutt. That's the name of his ship. You may discard a card, then you count the number of cards you discarded from your hand this turn. Draw that many cards. That's actually kind of a fun card to combine just with his other ones, because you could discard this. If you play a bunch of the other ones, I've discarded 3-4 cards, but you've also been drawing cards for them, then you could draw a bunch more. You could keep discarding cards for those other effects. So that is cool. I should double check. I don't think throwing... Nope, just put it at the bottom. It's not considered a discard. Alright, so now we have Valkyrie. This is the white blonde-haired Valkyrie, not the black one that's from the movies. So this is the more I want to say traditional, but that's not the word I'm looking for. The more well-known one, I would say. The one that was from the comic books. We'll put the older comic books, right? Because even the newer movie Valkyrie's in the comic books now, and actually the very current Valkyrie is, spoilers, Jane Foster. She have Dragon Fang. This is her artifact. It's her special sword. So she doesn't have to be worthy to throw it, but when you throw it, you get Sewer Conqueror 2. If you throw your sword, you better sure it ends the fight. So she throws it, basically she becomes more powerful to fight the guy in the sewer, which is the first spot in the city. So she can throw her sword and try and take out guys as soon as they come in. She has her Flying Stallion, Brightwing. I might be wrong. I keep saying Brightwing. Brightwing might be Moonstar's horse from the New Mutants. I might have that wrong. Correct me in the comments, please. Instinct, Rooftop Conquer 1, so she's playing with the Conquer ability. So, Thor is all about being worthy and doing stuff. Barry Bill is about discarding. She's all about taking control of the field, which makes sense for a Valkyrie. Ambush ability is played before it takes effect. You may discard this card. If you do, draw 2 cards and end at the end of this turn. So that's actually neat. There's not a lot of cards that have to deal with ambush abilities happening, and most of them are, if it it's usually like their rare card and it stops it from happening. This one's still gonna let it happen, but you get an extra effect if it happens. And then her last one is Usher to Valhalla. That's not her last one. Usher to Valhalla. Covert Bridge Conquer 1, playing Asgardian character. First time you defeat a villain this turn, you may KO one of your cards or a card from your discard pile. So she can do the sewer, the rooftop, the bridge, and the streets. So that leaves her one space she can't do, which is the bank. Because why does Valkyrie care about a bank? Ride of the Valkyries, Instinct Streets Conquer 1. You get Instinct. You get +1 attack for every 4 heroes in the KO pile. Because it's her ushering the dead into the next life. Our next character is Lady Sif. She has a dimensional blade. Here's her throwing artifact. When you throw this, you get +1 star, +1 attack. It's like 2 and you get 1 of each. But it's nice because it's a throwing artifact. It's an artifact in general, but it's a throwing artifact, so you only get it once. Unlike Drax's knife, or I'm pretty sure there's another card like you gain a star. Like Drax had a knife that just always gave you +1 every turn. This won't give you 1 every turn, but it'll let you use it when you need it. Alright, so then her next one is Weapons Master. If you control any artifacts, you gain +2, so that's kind of neat. She's actually going to gain from playing more artifacts. This works really well with this set, because everyone has at least 1 artifact. Unlike the Guardian set, where I think they went artifact heavy, like lots of characters had like 2, some of them had like 3 artifacts. Here they're not focused heavy on the artifacts for each character, which I think makes it a little bit, they'll be able to be put in other decks more. So here she has her Winged Helm, so she gets a second artifact. You may throw this to gain 1 attack. During any player's turn, if a player would gain a wound, you may throw this to prevent that wound and draw 2 cards instead. That's definitely a cool ability. Be able to negate wounds. And then her big card is the Golden Apples of Gun. It's another artifact, so she gets 3 artifacts. And then 1 that boosts for having artifacts. I've noticed all of these have been throwing artifacts though, so not just regular artifacts. When you throw this, you gain +4 attack, and you may KO a card from your hand or discard pile. Alright. Okay, and then our last hero, our 5th hero, this one's actually kind of cool. So this is the Warriors 3. So they didn't give them all a separate character, they just combined together. I hope they do more concepts like this for some of the like lesser known or odd characters. Like just give them a team and then like give them each 1 card, kind of like they do with the villains essentially. So we have Fandral the Dashing. It says you may move a villain to an adjacent city space. Another villain is there, swap them. You have a covert, you get to draw a card. So he gets to move guys around, which would work well with Lady Sif, or not Lady Sif, Valkyrie, and her Conqueror ability. You can move some guys around. So we got our Banjo. We have Hogan the Grimm, who's our covert, not strength. He's a covert character, but if you play a strength, you may KO a card from your hand or discard pile, and he draws 2. So it's kind of weird. You would have thought that he would have been the not covert sneaky guy. I would have almost thought of him as guy with the giant mace as being the guy that runs up and bashes on you. So we got those, and then we got the strength card is Volstagg the Valiant. Bridge Conqueror 1, if you have an instinct first, you get Bridge Conqueror 3, which that works really well with Fandral, because Fandral, you play him, you can move heroes around, try and get him to the bridge so that he can use Conquer and beat them. If you play Volstagg first, though, now Hogan gets to KO a card from your hand or discard pile, so he gets a benefit. If you play Hogan first, you get to draw a card with Fandral. So it's kind of neat how each one has like that rock, paper, scissors effect almost with each other. And then they have their all card. 3 Stangas 1. It's a strength card. If you play at least 3 other non-gray heroes with different card names this turn, you get +3. So if you played all 3 of them, you could gain more attack. And if you played an Asgard hero, you gain Street Conquer 3. So yeah, that's kind of a neat effect. They all kind of work together as a little mini team in themselves. Like all the cards in characters generally work as teams. Like amongst themselves, cards really work, synergize with themselves well, so that's nothing new. The difference though is just they work. I think it's 3 different characters, is I guess what I'm trying to spill at. Alright, let's go through our masterminds here quick. We have Malekith the Accursed, leads the Dark Council. His Master Strike, he captures a villainous weapon from the city or from any player's controls or discard pile. Then the Master Strike enters as a villainous weapon called Dark Spear. So he captures a weapon, gets stronger, Master Strike also becomes Dark Spirit that gives +2. And if you gain Dark Spirit, it becomes a throwing artifact that gives you +2 in throwing. His tactics are, here's a artifact card. So, Dagger of the Living Abyss, it's a fight. You get rescue 4 bystanders. Malekith capture a villainous weapon from the city or from any player's discard pile. Then this tactic enters the city as a villainous weapon. So basically, you beat this. He gains one of your villainous weapons, which could be this one of these other cards. But then if you beat this tactic, you gain it as an artifact. Says once per turn, you may defeat a villain worth 2 victory points or less. Hunting Horn of the Fairy, rescue 4 bystanders. So it's the same exact thing. Goes in, becomes a thing that's +3. But once per turn, you can draw a card. His other one is the Black Hammer of the Accursed. You rescue 4 bystanders, becomes a villainous weapon, goes into play. Once per turn, you may KO a hero from your discard pile. And then his other tactic that's not actually a weapon is vulnerable to Cold Iron. You fight him, you get 2 stars for each tech you have played. So that's kind of neat. He has 3 cards that you can potentially get, but every time you do, he steals a villainous weapon, so he becomes stronger. And these cards can actually make him stronger. But then you have an option of trying to get one of them. But when you get one of them, in the next Master Strike, he might take one of them cards back. So the Dark Council is going to be some various Thor villains. We have Ulik the Troll. Gets +2 if you are not worthy. So if you don't play a 5-cost hero, he becomes 5, so he essentially himself becomes worthy. And you may KO one of your heroes if you fight him. Not may, you have to. Then we have Singdar, or Singer, the Fire Giant Queen. So if you fight, if you're worthy, you get +2. So she's 5. So she is considered to be... It's victory points you have to be worthy, not attack. For the villains. But they're all, so far, becoming 5. Then we have Laufey, the Father of Loki. I like how you have the 3 different characters fighting him. Ambush. Laufey captures the casket of Eternal Winters from any villain, mastermind, player's control, or discard pile. So anywhere as long as it's not in the villain deck. Or escape pile. Or KO pile, I guess. If Laufey holds the casket of Ancient Winters and says, Fimbulwinter has come, and each player discards down to 3 cards. So if he escapes and he has it, you get a terrible effect. And then we have Mangog. He gets +1 for each villain of the victory pile of the player on your right. Escape. Each player who is not worthy gains a wound. And then we have a villainous weapon. We have Jarnaborn, the first axe of Thor. So it comes into play as a villainous weapon, giving him +3. But if you defeat them, you gain this, and it's a throwing artifact that gets you 3 attack. Malekith eventually sees Jarnaborn and cut off Thor's left arm. And then we have the previously mentioned Casket of Ancient Winters, villainous weapon with a +4, but once you have it, it's just a regular artifact. This is once per turn. If you're worthy, you get +2 stars. So that's kind of neat. So as long as you're worthy, you can always get 2 extra recruit every turn. Ooh, what I forgot to show off, because I forget this is a thing, is Malekith's epic side. I forgot they have epic villains. So basically his difference is he goes from 8 to 10. And his villainous weapon, Dark Spear, instead of giving a +2, gives +3, but you still only get to throw it for 2. That's the difference. Alright, and then now we have Hela, Goddess of Death. Bridge Conqueror 5, Streets Conqueror 5. So if there's anyone on the bridge, she has extra 5 attack. Anyone on the street, she has an extra 5. Someone on both, she has an extra 10, so she could be up to 20. She leads the Omen of Ragnarok, so I think she's going to be a hard villain. Master Strike. The strike enters the city as a 5 attack Army of the Dead villain worth 3 VP. Then choose a villain worth 3 VP or more from your victory pile, including one of the Army of the Dead, to enter the city. If you didn't have any, each player gains a wound. So you get a Master Strike, 2 villains come into play, which is also going to push a bunch of guys. Which was that epic version, right? So now she's a 10, or a 12 instead of 10. Conquerors are 6, plus she gains Rooftop Conqueror. So now she can actually be 18, 30 points, I think. Oh boy. Her Strike of Army of the Dead is now worth 4 VP and is a 6 attack. If you have any 4 VP or higher, they come into play. So she is, she's Hela. She's gonna wreck your crap. Hela's Cloak is a villainous weapon. So all villainous weapons seem to get the same thing. You rescue 4 bystanders, and then they capture the villainous weapon. So she captures this, and then she gives her +2. If you do defeat her, though, once per turn, or once during each player's turn, if you gain a wound, you may draw a card instead. So that's kind of neat. So if someone else forces you to gain a wound. Then she has the Night Sword. She captures this as a villainous weapon. When it's thrown, you get Bridge Conqueror 3. She has Seize the Bifrost, the Rainbow Bridge. Fight, reveal the top card of the villain deck. If he's a villain, enters the bridge or streets if one of those spaces are empty. Which basically also makes her more powerful with her Conqueror abilities. And then Naglfar, Longship of the Fingernails. Player on your right reveals a villain from their victory pile that's worth the most VP, enters the bridge or streets if one of those are empties. Basically, everything she does gets her more powerful. Her 2 regular ones, tactics make her put guys into play, and her other ones, attach to her. Versus Malekith, where you rescue your 4 bystanders, but the villainous enters the play and can attach to a villain. Hers, she just takes him for herself, becomes even more powerful. Alright, she leads Omens of Ragnarok. So we got Scourge, the Executioner, Bridge Conqueror 3. And you can KO one of your heroes. And it's kind of like Bridge because of the Bifrost. Fenris, the Fenris Wolf, Street Conqueror 2. Fenris Wolf moves to the rooftops, pushing other villains forward as normal. So he gets right near them streets as quick as he can. Surtur, the Fire Giant King. Put this card into your discard pile as a Surtur's Crown artifact. If Surtur was holding the Eternal Flame, say Ragnarok has come, KO each Asgard hero from the HQ, each player gains 2 wounds. As the artifact of Surtur's Crown, once per turn you get Sewer Conqueror 1. And then we have this guy, Jorgamond, the World Serpent. Sewer, Bridge, Rooftop Streets, and Bridge Conqueror 1. So he's 5, but he also gains 1 for every space it's filled. And then you KO each hero currently costing 1 or less. And then the 2 villainous artifacts from here are the Hell Crown, which once per turn you get Street Conqueror 1, and the Eternal Flame. If Surtur is in the city, he captures the Eternal Flame instead of going to another villain. If a player controls Surtur's Crown, that crown enters the villain as Surtur and he captures it. So if you even have beat Surtur once, he comes back into play to use this. Once per turn, return a 0 cost from the discard pile to your hand. Alright, I don't have much time left in this video, so I'm going to kind of fly through these sort of quick. Pause them if you want to see them more. Asgard tests the worthiness. Players are not worthy discard cards. Half the players are not worthy Gain a moral failing, 5 and you lose. So have some high cost cards. War of the Frost Giants. Twist enters as a Frost Giant Invader worth 6 attack, 6 BP. If you're not worthy, he gets 4. So if you're not worthy, he's a 10 cost character. Same effect. When there are 5 Frost Giant Invaders in the city and or escape pile. Alright. The Dark World is Stalverfline. I butchered that name, I'm sure. Put this twist next to the HQ or city space that doesn't already have one as Eternal Darkness. Villains in the spaces with Eternal Darkness gain +1. To recruit a hero, you must pay an extra 1. When all city spaces or all hero spaces are covered in Eternal Darkness. And Ragnarok, Twilight of the Gods. This one's kind of a neat one. So 11 twists. Choose a villain from your victory pile worth at least 2 VP to enter the city. Then, if a total of attack of the villains in the city is at least as high as the Guardian attack listed below, put this twist next to the scheme as the Guardian is defeated. So, with one twist, if there's at least 11, they've beat Baldur. 2, they've beat Odin, and they have, which is weird that Odin's the second person. But he's also as powerful, so it might not happen. Vladar, Tyr, Heimdall, Freyja, and Warriors of Valhalla with their 5 defeated Guardians. Which they get a little bit lower as you go along, so it's going to be harder and harder to keep them alive. Alright, so that was Marvel Legendary Heroes of Asgard. Hope you enjoyed it. It just came out recently, so if you're interested, now you know it's in the set. Check you guys later. Bye.